Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement.
Happy New Year, everyone! Happy New Year, and welcome back. It is such a privilege to be amongst the living, to have your life spared to see 2022. So I congratulate each and every one of you who are tuned in. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, my name is Bebe Clement, and I'm the host of your show, the Bebe Means Business Show. And this is a show where we talk about anything and everything to do with business and entrepreneurship. Okay, so once again, I want to welcome you and thank you for joining me again. For those of you who want to connect with me, you can of course connect with me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @BebeClement. That's @BebeClement. And if you're going to connect with me on Instagram, it's Bebe_Clement. And I really want to thank all my listeners over the last 18 months. I want to thank you for your commitment, particularly in 2021. 2021 was again another very difficult year, particularly for business owners. But thank you so much for your commitment to the show and to the brand. I thank you for your feedback and all the suggestions and everything, and letting us know how beneficial you are finding the program. I got so many messages over Christmas saying how wonderful the program has been and how useful it has been to their business and things like that. And that really makes me feel glad that we are serving you the way I wanted the program to serve you. I also want to thank some of the guests that we had on last year. We had some really dope guests last year. Honestly, I was really happy. I want to thank Blessing Theophilus Israel, who was the founder and president of the Christian Millionaire Business Club. She was on the show. It was really good. She shared her vision on faith and finance series that I had, and I'm going to continue that this year. Want to thank Bimbola Osage, who talked about property. Want to thank Dr. Remy Baranjoko, who joined us all the way from Rwanda, and that was really, really good for him to come along. Also want to thank Mr. Jeff Letts, who is the managing director of Jenny's Star. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. Really love you and appreciate you. And of course, who could forget the amazing Rabbi Daniel Lapin, who was on the show. What a privilege to have him on the show and for him to teach us about faith and finance under that series. So thank you so much to everybody who appeared on the show. If I haven't mentioned your name, doesn't mean I'm not grateful. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And I'm committed to ensuring that this year we're going to have even more really, really dope guests who can share their journey, give us tips and advice to make sure that we do well in 2022. All right, some good news for you. Now you're going to be able to take advantage of the show. You're going to be able to participate in the show a lot more. So I put some packages together. My team are finalizing it. So this time next week, that package will be ready. So if you want to appear on the show, you want to promote your products on the show, you want to sponsor the show, you want to have your jingle played during the program, all that is going to be available. The fees and the costs for all that is going to be available this time next week. So it will be showing throughout the program, so you can pick a package that is suitable for your budget. Listen, doesn't matter whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're an SME, there is a package that fits your budget. Just want to share some of the reasons why I think this is something that you need to do. Looking for ways in which to market yourself is becoming more and more difficult. But this program, last year we had our listenership just went through the roof. I mean, at one point we had over 3,000 listeners for one show, and this show airs twice a week. And so, I mean, if you're looking, there are very few outlets that you can have that number of people, a target audience, your target audience already there. So I would strongly encourage that you look for how you can promote yourself on this show. Also, we have a global reach. Even though we're based in London, England, it has a global reach. I was looking at the stats for last week's show. We had listeners from the UK, from Nigeria, from the Emirates, from the States, from Liberia, from Canada, from France. So, if you're a small business and you're looking to grow outside the parameters of your town, your city, your country, this is an excellent program for you to do that, an excellent platform for you to do that. So, like I said, this time next week, we will have all the costs ready for you, and you can take advantage of that. Okay, but now I want to talk about something different. So this is the beginning of the year, as you well know, and you need to get on top of things. You really need to get on top of things because, ladies and gentlemen, things are moving very quickly. Very, very quickly. You literally have to run to stand still the way that things are going. So you need to have a strategy very quickly and know what is going on in your industry. So today I'm going to be talking about important business trends for 2022. And if you are not in the habit of taking notes, can I encourage you to do so? This is really important because your business is like a ship. It really is. Your business is like a ship. And if a ship leaves a port without any kind of plan, without having charted its course, without any particular destination in mind, not only is it not likely to end up where it really would like to end up, but more importantly, you are likely to get shipwrecked. Because you've not taken the time to look at where are the dangers, where are the rocks, and if your ship ends up on rocks, it will be scattered asunder. Where are the courses that I can take that I can avoid the treacherous weather or the treacherous seas? Those are things that you need to do, and your business is just like that. It's just like that. So today I'm going to be talking about important business trends for 2022 that you must be aware of. If you are in business, in any kind of business, you must be aware of. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to look at is what kind of mindset do you need to have? What kind of mindset do you need to have in 2022? Now, I've spoken about this last year, but this is becoming even more relevant, ladies and gentlemen. The ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is going to be vital for you thriving in 2022. I'm going to say that again because it's really important. Your ability, and not just you as the business owner, but your team, but your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn is vital to your business success in 2022. Now, the day of concepts that last a lifetime, business concepts that last a lifetime or last 5-10 years, and being dependent on those concepts to determine business trends or how we operate as business or what the client needs, that day is over. That data is obsolete. It really is. It's obsolete. That's not working anymore. What you need by way of mindset is really agility. That's what I'm trying to say. For all my agile guys, now everything you guys used to talk about now makes sense to me. The ability to be agile is so important. You must be open and willing to lay down things, lay down knowledge and information and concepts. And when people say that, when they say you need to be able to lay down things, they're usually talking about things that have not hitherto worked for you. No, I'm not talking about things that have not hitherto worked. I'm talking about concepts that were working up until, I don't know, a month ago. Okay? Because of the speed of change. Because of the speed of change. So the important thing is that you are open. You are open to the understanding that because it has worked up until now does not mean it is going to serve me or my business or my team well going forward. You must have that mindset. And you must have the ability to be open to receiving new information, to trying new methodologies and things like that. So be quick to acquire new information. Don't be the last one who understands that things have changed. Be quick, be alert to what is going on and adapt it to your business. Okay, so that's mindset. You've got to have an agile mindset for you as a business owner, as a strategic operator of your business, but also for your team. Okay, all right. The next thing I want to talk about under trends is what we now call learning from the future. Now that in itself is a bit of an oxymoron, really. Learning from the future. Because as you well know, psychologists have told us that the yardstick for future behavior is past behavior. And that mindset or that concept has been adopted by the business world. That if you want to know what the consumer is going to do in 5 years' time, look at what the consumer did 5 years ago or has done in the last 5 years, and use that to determine what the consumer is going to do in the next 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, that has gone out the window. That has gone out the window. Because, like I said, things are moving so fast. COVID is changing consumer behavior almost on a daily basis. And I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but this is the truth. COVID and result of COVID and all the things that are happening as surrounding COVID is changing consumer behavior almost on a weekly basis. And so what is now happening when it comes to research is companies and organizations are realizing that yesterday's data is obsolete, and we can no longer depend on that to anticipate future consumer behavior. So what is happening, I don't know whether this is for good or for bad, but what is happening is that they are increasingly now dependent on AI, artificial intelligence, to predict for them what is the consumer going to do tomorrow. Supposing this COVID situation lasts for the next 10 years, and you may say, Bebe, that's not possible, but who knew? We've just entered our 3rd year of COVID. Who knew when COVID started that this thing could last this long? So I would rather be prepared. I would rather anticipate that this is the new normal. If it doesn't turn out to be the new normal, if they say, COVID has cleared tomorrow, well, thank God for that. But I'd rather be prepared for a worst case scenario than let it keep taking me by surprise. Now, when I say that COVID has changed the mindset of the consumer behavior, even consumer behavior in a total lockdown is different from consumer behavior in a partial lockdown. So, for instance, to use a very simple example, when we were in a total lockdown, we couldn't go anywhere. There was a lot of food delivery, okay? People were willing to pay a little bit extra. I was talking to my local Pizza Hut guy, and he was saying, I made so much money during the lockdown, I didn't even know what to do with myself. So our consumer behavior was such that, everybody was at home, so we were paying extra to have food delivered. Now, during a partial lockdown, that behavior changed. So I was no longer willing to pay, I don't know, $16.99 for a £9.99 pizza. No longer was I even willing to sit at home and order it. I was willing to go out and go and get it myself. So within a matter of weeks, consumer behavior had changed. So you can see how important this is. So as I said, organizations are now more dependent on AI in order to get that information, to anticipate what is the consumer going to do in the next 12 months. What is the consumer going to do in the next 24 months? So the point I'm trying to make is, if you have done some research as to consumer behavior in your space or in your industry over the last 5 years, that data, ladies and gentlemen, is obsolete. And you cannot afford to use that to push your vision or your mission for 2022. You can't. At the very best, it's maybe an iota of the information that you need. And your level of dependence on it has got to be minimal. You have got to be getting new data as regards what your clients need. You've got to be getting new data. You really have to, as to what your clients need. Very few of our clients come to our law firm now. Very few of our clients. So a lot of law firms are now even changing their model. Many of them have closed down. So the bricks and mortar kind of concept is gone because consumer behavior is changing. So these are the kind of things that you need to be aware of in your space. Now, having said that, no matter the degree of accuracy that AI will bring, and I sometimes question that degree of accuracy, but humans are still needed to interpret that data. You will still need real-time data to determine what you need to do. That's another thing. Where what used to happen in the past was we were looking at past data and then looking at future data. AI is now looking, because of the situation, is now looking at real-time data. Literally, what is happening now in the next 24 hours? What is happening tomorrow in those 24 hours? That is what AI is looking at now, because that is what is required, ladies and gentlemen. So again, the points I'm making is 3 years ago data is not going to serve you well. Don't even bother. It's not serving you well. You need to start making new research for your business. Okay, I'm going to take a short break here, and then when we come back, we're going to be looking at a new concept called edge organizations. What the heck are those? I'll tell you when you get back.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you once again for joining me on the Bebe Means Business Show. I'm your host, Bebe Clement, and just wanted to say I'm also the author of this book, which you can see at the bottom of your screen, How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur. Listen, this book has never been more relevant. By the day, it's becoming more and more relevant, because sadly a lot more people are going to be made redundant this year, and if you're based in the UK government has said there's no more furlough. So literally you are on your own. You are on your own. So you need to start thinking right now, even if you're an employee, you need to start thinking ahead. If my boss comes into my office tomorrow and says, sorry, we can no longer afford to keep you, what are you going to do? Don't wait until it happens to you. Start thinking ahead. What gifts, what talents do you have? What knowledge do you have? What entrepreneurial skills do you have that you can use to go into business for yourself and not be dependent on somebody else to give you a paycheck or for your survival? You need to start thinking about that now. I would strongly encourage you to get that book. If you go to Amazon, you'll find it on there, How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur. It's $12.99 on Amazon with a wealth of information, step-by-step advice and help to make you go, make the transition from being an employee to an entrepreneur. And of course, if you've just started your business, if it's the early days of your business, there's loads and loads of tips in there as to how to make sure that you become successful in your business. Okay, so just before the break, I was talking about trends. We've talked about the mindset of the entrepreneur in 2022, and we were looking at some trends. One of the trends that we were looking at was learning from the future. Learning from the future. And I just wanted to add something to that before I go to the next point. So if the data, I was saying that yesterday's data is no longer relevant. For those of you who are in the advisory business, if you're in the advisory space, that has huge ramifications for you. Because it may well be that the advice that you were giving your clients 6 months ago is no longer relevant. So you need to be able to have a look at that. The kind of advice I am offering my clients in relation to their business or in relation to my products and services, is it still relevant? Does it still meet the need of today's client? Because like I said, today's client is a different animal to pre-COVID clients. So you need to have a look at that, particularly those of you who are in the advisory space, whether it's law or business support or whatever it is, you need to have a look at that. Not only the kind of advice that you give, but the medium that you use for conveying or communicating that advice. Is it still relevant? Is it still relevant? These are things that you need to have a look at. Okay, so I was talking about, just before we went to the break, I introduced the concept of edge organizations. Edge organizations. Now, what are they? What we are seeing now is that previously, let's go back a bit. Previously, what used to happen in organizational businesses, you had a triangular kind of concept or way of working or strategizing. It was triangular. So you had the MD at the top, you had the board of directors, then you had the middle management, then you had the lower level staff, and they had, that kind of thing. It was very triangular. So ideas, the vision, the mission, everything came from the top down. Okay, that was pretty much what occurred in most businesses, and for the most part, that works quite well. What we are seeing is that is being disrupted. And what we are seeing now is edge organizations. And edge organizations occur, or what happens is that decision making moves to the edge, no longer coming from senior management. It is now moving to the edge where teams are. A lot more is being done through teams. And these teams are connected through networks. So these networks are going to become ultra important. Please hear me, because this is really important to your survival and your understanding of the way business is being carried out now and the kind of changes and adaptations that you need to make as a small business owner. So it's no longer a matter of I have all the answers and I'm going to pass that down to you, you get on with it. No, that's not what's happening nowadays. The mission and the vision is being driven by teams who are connected through networks. And these networks are ultra important because they are being empowered to collaborate. They're being empowered to collaborate. And those collaborations are what is meeting corporate goals. Not only meeting corporate goals, but actually even establishing those corporate goals, meeting those corporate goals, and delivering on those goals. All right? Establishing the goals in the first place, meeting corporate goals, and delivering on those goals. So again, like I said, it's no longer top-down kind of management. It is now being pushed to the edge. So that means that your staff are going to have to be a lot more better informed, and like I said earlier, a lot more agile, but understanding that those teams are being empowered via the networks that they are forming that are leading to collaborations. So the day of the one-man band, I can do it, that's gone. I'm the one with all the information and I'm the top honcho, that's gone. It is now the teams. So even more importantly, your ability to network and network effectively, because a lot of people network, but they're not networking effectively. Your ability to network effectively, and more importantly, your team being able to network effectively, and understanding where the importance of and the need to establish and carry out collaborations is going to be even more important in 2022. So one of the things that I have done is I have incorporated networking into the job description of all my staff. This is something I wouldn't have done previously, but every member of my staff now has networking in their JD, in their job description. And I'm doing that. Doing whatever is necessary, we are doing whatever is necessary to empower them and enable them to do that with confidence. And to be able to be aggressive and aware, proactive in identifying what would be a good hookup or what would be good collaborations. This is really important. It's important that your staff are aware so that they can come to you and say, you know what, this company over here is doing this. I think that what we are doing would greatly be enhanced if we hooked up with them. Can I have the go ahead to set up a meeting to at least have the conversation and explore it? And you need to be able to empower them. But your staff are not going to be able to do that except you have communicated to them the importance of the need and arm them with the skills that they need in order to do that. And created a work environment that gives them the confidence that if I float this idea to Bebe, she's not going to poo-poo it, she's not going to, dismiss it, she's going to take it seriously. So these are really, really important edge organizations. That's what they're called, edge organizations. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about an edge organization that I'm involved in, and this is actually a networking group. So I'm the founder, for those of you who don't know, I'm the founder and I'm the president of a networking group in the UK called Black Businesses. It's now called Black Businesses UK. And prior to COVID, we had about 2005, 2008 members. Right now, I was checking the figures this morning, we have just over 7,000 members. And it's a networking group for Black business owners originally within the UK. Last year, I opened that up to global Black business owners that want to be involved, and those who are not even necessarily, who are not Black, but want to pitch or sell to the Black community. So I open it up to them. Now, one of the things, I was talking about edge collaborations and networks. Those kind of groups are now beginning to come to the attention of the big boys, for want of a better word, the big boys. And like I said, because they are understanding the importance of collaborations, such groups are now attractive to the big boys. So last year and the year before, I was approached by a couple of companies, or a number of companies actually, who wanted to collaborate with that networking group. And so obviously they had to come through me. But they were willing to pay a lot of money in order to do that, to collaborate with them. So the point I'm trying to make is edge organizations, edge networking groups, collaborations on that kind of scale are now where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. That's where it's at. So if you are still operating in the mindset of me, my little organization, or my little business group, man, you've already missed the boat. That is not working anymore. That's not how we're doing it anymore. And you must get with the program. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the supply chain. The supply chain. Now, COVID has revealed a global supply chain deficit. For those of us in the UK, we have a double whammy because not only has COVID done it, but we're also suffering from Brexit. We're still reverberating from Brexit. So, major hassles with the supply chain in the UK. A little while ago, those of you who remember, we had a problem with lorry drivers. We couldn't even find lorry drivers. And so that, again, I personally think that COVID revealed rather than created the disruption in the supply chain. I think there were already problems in the supply chain. I think there was over-dependence on certain nations in relation to the supply chain, nations like China, over-dependence on them for supply chain. But whatever the case, COVID has really burst it wide open. So you must be aware of that, particularly those of you who deal in goods. So if you've heard me say this before, under promise and over deliver. Under promise and over deliver. So you need to watch that, be aware of that, where you are promising certain goods and delivery of certain services. You need to be aware of that we have a problem with the supply chain. So perhaps last year your goods could be, the customer could have it in 5 days. You need to be aware of the break in the supply chain. So don't commit to 5 days. I would extend that to maybe 2 weeks. Just let the customer know that, hopefully within 2 weeks they will get their product. Because the last thing the customer is not interested in whether there's a supply chain deficit. All the customer knows is that you told me I was going to get my product on Friday, and now it is Sunday morning and my product is not here. So it's really important that you are aware of that. Okay. So as you know, as always, this is a live show. and it's an interactive program, and I want to hear your views on anything that we discuss here. So if you have anything that you want to add to the program, please, I'm open to listening to that. If there's anything that you want to add to it, if you have any comments or whatever that you want to make, then please do, by all means, hook up while the program is still on. If you want to use our Twitter handle is @Star Radio UK, @Star Radio UK, or you can text or WhatsApp us on 07539 661 744. That's 07539 661 744. You can hook us up there, or send an email. If that's easier for you, just send an email on info@Star Radio UK, or join us on Facebook at Star Radio UK, and we will give you a mention, give you a shout out, or just air your views or your suggestions as well. Okay, I'm going to take another short break, and when we come back, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about some of the important business trends that you need to be aware of for 2022. And then also, of course, I'm going to go to our book corner. For those of you who are not aware, last year I introduced the book corner, whereby we look at a particular book. We review any books that we have on business and entrepreneurship that can help you in your business journey, and we review that, and we just glean some gems from there so that you can get some more information that will help you. See you in a moment. Don't go away.
Hi everyone, it's your girl Bebe Clement, the author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, Bebe Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Star Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Get ready for this.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and you are tuned into the Bebe Means Business Show. I'm your host, Bebe Clement. Thank you very much for those of you who have contacted us. Just want to give a quick shout out to Toby Akide, who is joining us on Facebook. He's joining us all the way from Nigeria. Toby, thank you very much for tuning in. Hope you're doing well. And everybody else who is tuning in, thank you so much. Really grateful for your commitment to the brand. Okay, so for those of you who are just joining us today, I'm talking about important business trends for 2022. Important business trends for 2022. Okay, so I just spoke about the global supply chain. I want to talk a little bit now about something quite interesting, actually. I'm not sure where we're going to go with this, but it's important that you know. There is an increased blurring between the virtual and physical in the design of products that you may want to incorporate into your own business. There's an increased blurring between the virtual and the physical. Now, yesterday I was watching a program with my husband. I like watching programs about property because I'm very much into property and land and stuff like that. So I was watching a program with my husband, and they were doing up these people's houses. They were changing these houses. So what happened was they would give them a preview of what the house would look like, and they were using these 3D goggles to show them, these virtual goggles, to show them what the house would look like. So previously what you'd have is you would show them maybe you would show them maybe architectural designs or architectural drawings to let them see what their house could look like. But now they're using virtual goggles to show them, to have a real experience, to heighten the experience. So literally, it's almost like you are there. Your house is transformed. It's almost like you are literally there in it. So it's not just a drawing, it's not just a concept. You actually get to see this is what the house would look like. So that's an example of the blurring between the virtual and the physical that is occurring in business now. I was reading a design journal in relation to cars, and they were saying that by 2026 that all new cars will have steering wheels and seats that vibrate to alert the driver. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? So again, the virtual and the physical is being blurred, is being merged. You need to start thinking, what does that mean for my business? How can I incorporate that into my business? Because if that is the way that consumerism is going, that is not just enough for you to describe an experience for me. It's not just enough for you to tell me about what I can expect. I need to see it. I need to feel it. I need to touch it. I need to hear it. So start thinking sensory. Start thinking sensory. What can I do in relation to the way in which I deliver my product or my service that can appeal to the senses of my customers? Touch, feel, hearing, taste. What can I do? This is really, really important. So on a lesser level, we see that in marketing. More and more companies are turning to video marketing, because it's not enough for you to just send me an email or a blog and tell me something about your product. There's a difference between that and me actually seeing you and hearing you speak about it. Completely different effect. Completely different effect. So start thinking sensory. Start thinking sensory. Also in the way in which you deliver, even the way in which you how you relate to the client. How you relate to the client. I know this sounds, some people might struggle with this, but think, does it really matter? Yes, it matters. Appealing to the senses of your client matter. An old trick when it came to selling houses that estate agents used to tell us, an old trick was that when people come to view your house, that you should be baking bread in your home, because the aroma of fresh baking bread it appeals to the senses of the people, of somebody who wants to buy your house. It turns your house from a building or to a house, bricks and mortar, it turns it into a home for them through the smell of the bread. It brings back childhood memories for them, and all that enhances the experience of walking around your house. And so they discover that people who bake bread while people are walking around their house sell their house a lot quicker. They sell it a lot quicker. Why? Because they have done something that appeals to the senses of people. So again, this is something that works. So what you need to do is to start thinking, sit down with your team and start thinking the way in which we deliver our product or our service. How can we improve it to become more sensory? And how can we improve it to merge the virtual and the physical? Really important. Okay. Even something like the way your office smells. How does your office smell? I remember actually there was a particular house when I was going to buy the last house I bought. One of the things that appealed to me in that house was the way it smelled. They had a particular air freshener that I loved. I just loved. And that air freshener, I know this sounds crazy, but that air freshener added to my wanting to buy the house, even though I knew it was an air freshener I could go out and buy, but it added somehow to the way I felt about the house. So even how does your office smell? The kind of packaging that you have for your products, the aesthetics of your products. Over the Christmas holidays, we sent out hampers to all our really good clients. And there's a particular hamper company, of course there are loads of hamper companies, but there's a particular hamper company that we chose, and we chose that company because one of the reasons why we chose it was we loved the packaging. The packaging was just, forget what was inside it, but the packaging itself was just brilliant, really, really good. So, those kind of things are important, really, really important. Okay, it's a difficult period because previously entrepreneurs only had to look at what might happen in the next 5 years or 10 years, but now they have to research what is happening in real time, and I've mentioned that a bit earlier. I often say people do not buy with their brain, they buy with their emotions. So it's important for you to appeal to emotions and appeal to senses, not just the senses but also to their emotions. How can I make this product more appealing to a client's emotions? I remember watching, there was a guy, I forgot his name now, apologies to you if you're listening, but he's one of the, I think he's the highest paid speaker in South Africa when it comes to things like marketing and stuff like that. He's the highest paid speaker. And he was talking about value. And he was trying to get, I was watching one of his seminars, and he was trying to get people to move away from pricing based on like an hourly rate or something like that, but to pitch their pricing based on the value that they bring. And he was talking, there was a particular woman in his seminar who was a makeup artist, and he was asking how much she charged, and she said how much she charged, and she was doing an hourly rate, giving an hourly fee. And he said, he was explaining to them, don't do that. And he said, to buttress his point, he said, supposing you were going to go to a wedding, and how much would you be willing to pay for somebody to make up your face to go to a wedding? So she told him how much she was willing to pay. Then he said, okay, if you knew your ex-boyfriend who had dumped you was going to be at that wedding, how much would you be willing to pay? And it was amazing that the fee that the person was willing to pay almost tripled. Why? Because now she sees that there's a greater value in it. There's a greater value. So it's important that you are able to pitch your product in such a way that appeals to the value, the senses of the people. The more I am emotionally connected to your product, the more value it has by way of my perception, and the more I'm willing to pay for it. So it's important that you do that in 2022. Okay. All right. So also, as you're aware, more and more businesses are giving up their bricks and mortar because more of us are working from home. More of us are working remotely. You don't need to have your clients in your office. You can have a Zoom meeting or a Teams meeting or whatever, all these kind of things. So it will be a good time for you to review. If you do have an office, it's a good time for you to think, okay, can I actually do without the overhead of this office and everything that goes with it? You may well be able to do that. There's a particular business I have now that most of the team are working remotely. They don't have to come into the office. They only come in maybe once a week. So it might be an idea to look at having joining just a hub. A hub is where you go into, there's a particular office, and they've got all the connections that you need. They've got the laptop, they've got the presentation and the screen and all that, and the Wi-Fi. So you just connect with them. You just go in there maybe once or twice a week if you want to see a client, and that's it. And you pay an hourly rate for that, or you pay a subscription for that. But you don't have all the overheads of paying the gas, the electricity, the this, that, and the other. All that overhead is gone. So this is, again, another good time for you to look at that for 2022. Okay. Now, because more and more business is being done online, this is also another good time for you to look at your website and incorporate an e-commerce website. I'd strongly encourage you to do that so that you can take payments on your website, carry out transactions on your website. Again, the client has less and less physical contact with you. Really important that you minimize now the physical contact that the client has with you. It saves everybody time. We can see that now. It saves everybody time. So have a look at your website and make it an e-commerce one. Your products can be standalone or with others. The products that you sell on your website can be standalone or with others. Again, this will increase sales. So for instance, on my website, you might see something like, I'm doing a seminar. So that's a standalone product. I'm doing a webinar. I'm marketing a webinar, perhaps business speaking skills or public speaking skills for business owners. And then I might throw in, if you pay full price for that, then you get my book at half price. So even though it was a standalone product, but I've now done a combo. I'm now selling my book as well. So it might well be that somebody didn't know that I've written a book, but now they're aware and they can get it half price. Doesn't cost me anything to sell it half price because they're paying for a full price for another product. So these are the kind of things that you need to be looking at. Be a bit more innovative, shake it up a bit, but you'll find that there are lot more ways to making money. But having an e-commerce website, I think, is going to be a must for 2022. because it can greatly expand your reach. And of course, you can go from being like a local or national business owner or business person to an international one. It may also limit your need to store stock. That will help you as well. It may limit your need because now you produce on demand. You just produce on demand. I remember a bookshop contacted me recently, and they ordered my book. They didn't have to stock. They're not stocking my book. They don't store it. They just contacted me and said, "We've had a client request your book. Can you send it?" Very interesting to me. Very, very interesting to me. So I sent it to the bookshop, and the bookshop sold it to the client. So again, you know, that will save the overhead. If your business is product driven, that will save you the overhead of having to store your stock, because you can just produce on demand. Also, having a live chat feature to solve problems in real time on your website is also a good idea. It's also a good idea. It's something I'm hoping to do in the very near future. Then you can use tools like Google Analytics Google Analytica to see where your customers are coming from. How many people are visiting your site? Where in the world are they coming from? And this gives you a greater insight into the kind of marketing strategy that you should have. For instance, when we review the marketing, when we review the statistics or the data for this show, I've discovered that this show appeals mostly to guys. Hands down, guys, usually about 75 to 80% of the viewers are men. And they're usually between the ages of 35 to 44. So that helps me. That helps me in targeting my market. When I'm thinking about topics, I think mainly about topics that would appeal to that demographic, because those are the people who mostly listen to the show. So there's no point in me bringing in things that appeal mostly to women when my target audience, when most of the people that listen to the show are men, and they're that age group. You will also notice the kind of if you look at the colors that are used now, these are not the colors that we started with. So you can see bold blues and blacks and stuff like that. These are colors that appeal mostly to men. They may appeal mostly to men. If I was appealing mostly to women, I'd have things like lilacs, light greens, maybe yellows and stuff like that. But again, it helps you target your market properly, and your marketing strategy is better aimed, and you're more likely to hit what you want. Okay, you can also add a privacy policy to your website. That helps improve customer confidence in using the site, especially if it's an e-commerce site, because if people are going to be using their credit cards on your site, they need to know that it's safe. So if you have a privacy policy on your site, it lets customers know what data you're collecting, why you're collecting that data, and how you are using that data. Really, really important to customers to know that. Okay, all right. I think now I might actually do that again. I might do a part 2 of this actually, because I've got quite a bit more to do, but I'd like to go to the book corner. I'd like to go to the book corner now so we can get some information from that. So this quarter, we're going to be reviewing this book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And this book is written by George S. Clason. If you haven't read this book, I would strongly encourage you to go and do it. Go and buy it. Again, this is what I'm going to be reviewing over the next few weeks. The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. And you can get it from Amazon. I'm not sure how much it is on Amazon. I think my husband bought it for me as a gift last year. But yes, I would encourage you to go and get it. So for those of you who are not sure what's happening, last year I introduced what I call the book corner onto the show, and this is where we review books that are relevant to business owners and entrepreneurs and that will help you on your journey. And we ended the year by reviewing T.D. Jakes' book called Reposition Yourself, which was excellent. I'm really, really, really grateful for that book. I've read it over and over and over. So yes, so today we're looking at The Richest Man in Babylon. Now, in the foreword of this book, it is discussed that George Clason discovered that if you help enough people, you don't have to worry about money. Now, I've heard that concept interpreted by many of other people apart from George Clayton, but that concept is attributed to him. It originated from him. That if you help enough people with your product and service, you don't need to worry about money. Oprah, John Maxwell, and all those kind of people have repackaged that concept. John Maxwell says that if you help people get what they want, they will give you what you want. Now this is really important because a lot of us have it backwards. We look at the customer and our mindset is, how can I make as much money as possible from the customer? That is our mindset. But if you flip that, say, how can I serve my customer through my products and services? How can I serve my customer? And how can I serve as many customers as possible through my products and services? The money will take care of itself. The money will take care of it. Oprah says you do this through the service of many. That's how you do it. And thankfully, the times in which we're in are actually good for that, because the day of each one reach one, that day is gone. What you need to do is get as many people as possible in a room and market your products and your services to them, but with the aim of serving them with your products and services. And that has always been my mindset. To call it what you want, be a blessing, serve them, whatever. That has always been my mindset. And I can tell you from personal experience, it has served me well. It has served me well. So you need to be looking at that. I would, if you're somebody who's always looking at how can I make money, how can I make money, I would encourage you to flip that in 2022 and just look at how can I be of service to my fellow man. Those of you who listened to Rabbi Lapin when he came on the show, he said exactly the same thing. He said he actually asks people, how are you serving God's children? And he says that always throws them. Whenever he says that, he throws them. So if you meet somebody on the plane and the person, and rather than ask the person, what do you do? He asks the person, how are you serving God's children? And he says that always takes them aback because most people don't think that way. But I would encourage you to take a leaf out of George Clayton's book, The Richest Man in Babylon, and make sure that you do that. Look for how your product or your service can serve your fellow man. He also talked in his book about proper preparation is the key to success. Proper preparation is the key to success. And I hope that you understand that that's what I've done with this book, with this episode of the show, Important Business Trends to Look Out for 2022. It's to get you to start thinking. You can't just go with the flow, ladies and gentlemen. You can't just drift along in your business. You've got to have a clear plan and a clear mission as to how that plan is going to be worked. So he says proper preparation is the key to success. So I'm going to throw out the challenge for you. How prepared is your business for the challenges of 2022? How prepared is your business for the success that I hope you are anticipating for 2022? Listen, I don't care what is happening around me. I really don't. I don't care if people are dropping left, right, and center. And I don't mean that I don't care whether they drop dead. What I mean is, I'm not going to let what is happening around me influence my focus. I have laser beam focus on what I'm planning to do. I'm building a global business, and I ain't going to let nothing change me or change that vision. And so I am preparing for success. If you have a mindset of, oh God, who knows what 2022 is going to bring, everything, businesses are collapsing, that kind of thing, then you are literally going to become a casualty. You really are. You're going to become a victim of what you think about. But I would encourage you to have a mindset of, I don't care what's happening around me, my business is going to do well. If every other business collapses this year, my business is not going to collapse. My business is not even going to just survive. My business is going to thrive. Mindset is everything. And mindset will determine the kind of planning that you put in place in relation to your business. So what's the plan, ladies and gentlemen, for your business? How much are you planning to make this year? Most business owners can't tell you. What is your annual turnover? What are you anticipating as by way of your annual turnover for this year? Most people can't tell you. I have put a monthly figure in mind for my business, my Bebe Means business, my Bebe Clement business. I have a particular figure in mind. That figure has got to be reached. I don't care how I'm going to do it. I've got to reach that figure. I'm going to sit my team down and tell them we've got to hit this figure. I don't care what we're going to do, but we've got to hit this figure on a monthly basis. What is your plan for your business for 2022? And the last thing that he spoke about that I'm going to talk about today is, he said Babylon, again the book is called Richest Man in Babylon. Babylon became rich because they practiced good financial principles. Woo! There's a huge one. They practice good financial principles. There is no point in you just getting information, attending this seminar, moving to that webinar. There is no point in you doing all that if you do not practice good financial principles. And some of the good financial principles that you need to practice is: 1, how do I make money? 2, what do I need to keep it? 3, how do I make that money make more money? Okay, how do I create wealth? How do I keep it? So what do I need to do to make sure it doesn't drain out? Because money is called currency for a reason. It ebbs and flows, and if you're not careful, it will flow away from you. If you don't put things in place to ensure that it is protected, it will flow away from you. Go and ask people who have won the lottery. Over 80% of people who win the lottery are flat broke. Flat broke. That means they're in a worse financial position than before they won the lottery within 5 years. So what do you need to do to protect the wealth that you are building? And how can you make that money make more money? Because if you are just accumulating, it will become stagnant. If you are building wealth and you're putting it in the bank, that's all you're doing by way of protection. You're not going to go anywhere with that. You've got to grow it. You've got to grow it. How can I make this money make more money? What can I invest in to make it yield a harvest? So you must practice good financial principles. You must live within your means. If your lifestyle exceeds the money that is coming in, you will not be wealthy. Listen, there is no magic to it, ladies and gentlemen. There is no magic to it. If you are earning 30,000 a year, but your lifestyle is 60,000, you are getting a new car every year, you are dressed in designer wear every year, you're buying a house that you know you can't afford the mortgage, then you're not going to be wealthy. It's that simple. Babylon was rich because they practiced good financial principles. So how is your company going to make money this year? I've already asked you that. What's the strategy? How are you going to control your cash flow? That's important. Cash flow is the lifeblood of business, especially small business. Cash flow is the lifeblood. When I read Richard Branson's autobiography, the number of times he said, I nearly went under due to poor cash flow. I nearly went under due to poor cash flow. So cash flow is the lifeblood of any business. You need to make sure that you've put things in place that will protect your cash flow. And what are you going to invest in that is going to make your money make more money? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again for joining me. It's been a pleasure to serve you through this program. I hope that you will tell others. Please tell others. Make sure you connect with me online. Once again, my Twitter handle is @BebeClement. My Instagram is Bebe_Clement. There'll be lots of information and advice going out there. And if you want to have a repeat of this program, go to YouTube on the Bebe Means Business show on YouTube. All the latest programs are on there, past programs are on there. Like, subscribe, and share so we can keep helping each other and we can become financially free.